Hello and welcome back to Pondering Podcast with Cindy and Leslie. How's it going?
Very good. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Love it.
Fantastic. So
Best
we are
way to
here
be.
about a new podcast, the Dean Graziosi Show, episode from April 6th titled, How Can You Change the World? And this was a 13-minute episode. I don't really feel like there were ads. Were there ads?
No, he doesn't. No ads.
He doesn't do ads. Yeah.
He
So that
just
was
jumps
great.
right in. Yeah.
So there was a lot in this podcast that was super thought-provoking and powerful. And so I highly recommend tuning in, check it out. We're just going to touch on a few of our takeaways today because we could probably talk for an hour probably about this topic.
Absolutely. It's a hot one.
Some of the highlights for me, he talked about forgiving yourself, getting rid of negative self-talk, remembering that you can't change the past or get your past back. But what you can do is you can stop doing something. So this really resonated with me because he said, you can stop doing things that don't work. And
Imagine
he really
that.
highlighted the idea of stop the negative self-talk because every time you set yourself up and something's not going to work or it's not going to go the way you want it to, or it totally blew up, and you start beating yourself up and spinning in a circle. I had this happen to me, I kid you not, less than an hour ago. And I needed to listen to this and stop the negative self-talk because guess what? It's never gotten you where you want to be. And I was like, holy cow. So here's my brief little story. I've been trying forever to set up my business bank account. I tried to set it up online. It got flagged for fraudulent because I guess I answered a question wrong by 1 year. And so then they said, we've closed this account, even though they sent me a credit card for it, the debit card for it. Close the account. In order to reopen the account, you need to go in person. So I go in person and they said, oh, we actually can't do that. You're going to have to come and just reopen a completely new account. So I had to come back another day and spend 90 minutes opening a brand new bank account. I put money in and everything, and they just locked it. And they said, because of your previous fraudulent activity, we don't want you as our customer. And I was like, and now you have my money. And I linked my accounts and I did all this stuff, my QuickBooks and everything with my Venmo. And I was just like, maybe I shouldn't own a business anymore. Like I was so in my head. Like, I can't do it. I just can't. Oh man. So I'm irritated because now I have to go solve another problem. And it just seems like it's been problem after problem after problem. And it's easy to say, it's too hard. I just can't. I'm just not good at this. I'm doing it wrong. And I didn't do anything wrong and it's still wrong. And that's the worst part for me. So this was perfect conversation for me to have tonight because I was like, okay, just another hurdle I got to jump over and figure out, but it will be okay.
Yeah. Well, because what's at the end of it? Like on the other side of the business end. So I think, all of us coaches struggle somewhat with the business side, to some degree, unless you came from that before, we all go into coaching for a reason. That's where our innate talents are. Otherwise, we'd probably be doing business somewhere else and like maybe making different money or different things. We would be focused differently.
Yeah.
It just kind of comes with part of the territory.
And things are going to be hard. It can be so frustrating, but it does not serve me to just spin in the frustration and think that I, blew it again because it's really their fault. Stupid thing.
Well, and that's the hardest thing is a lot of it's out of your control. Similar to a situation I had with the PayPal stuff of having it locked, and I thought getting more money was a good thing, but it flagged me. I'm like, you have to be kidding me. Isn't that supposed to be good? You got more of my money and the fee that you took out. That's supposed to make you happy. It's a very frustrating thing. So how do we, this episode was so good on like the negative self-talk, where we hammer ourselves over and over and over and it gets us nowhere. But it's really hard to do all these things without support of like a community like this, of people who can, cheer each other on and say, one step at a time. You will get through the banking and it will be done. And it's a hiccup and it's frustrating because it feels like waste time, because you have everything set up and then you're going to have to fix it, but you've already done it once or twice and it'll be easier the third time.
Right. Well, and he brings up these questions, having this negative self-talk, can you pause and ask yourself, what can you learn from it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Chase Bank sucks and don't use them. And what if it was supposed to happen this way?
Yeah.
To jump the hurdles, to build the confidence, to know that you can accomplish it even when the roadblock gets there. And maybe, the bank that I'm supposed to use, or there's a better one out there and I just hadn't found it. And I went with the first thing I found, and maybe this is the way to go in a different direction. So it's all about that reframing. How is life happening for you and not to you? What can you do in those moments where it feels just so stinking hard to change the world, right? Come back to that. Like, what are we doing to change the world? This business is something we're all trying to do to change the world. No matter how big or how small and how far your reach is, but what can you do to make your personal world, your business world, the hurdles you jump through, a little less negative and dark sometimes, and continue to move forward towards the bigger goal, right?
Yeah.
So he says, one of the things he said was, take time to write down what you need to do, visualize it, look at it every week to remind yourself where you're going and what you're doing. And he said, I really liked this. His quote was, the movement is in the uncomfortable action of implementation.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just like,
so things land for a reason at times when we need them. And it was just like he said, I think he said, what if this failure, I'm paraphrasing, is just a millimeter off towards being good or being right? What if we can make just a slight adjustment to making it go the way we need it to? Or what if we just can acknowledge this isn't right and we trash that, but really trash it. Don't let it come back up as old baggage, these forever negatives that we carry with us of the failures that we've had. What about the lesson from the failure? I liked kind of how he spoke to that. Much of what's said is so much of what we do with our clients, the negative self-talk and, how to lift and how to move forward. And then here we're, dealing with stuff that's sometimes really hard too. That requires us to do things. That's why we listen to, podcasts like this one to, because we are trying to change the world, but we also have our own things that are, we're human, obviously. Bad stuff happens, tough things happen. But what, like throw in the towel, I think too much changes within you for other people.
Right. Yeah. It's a great listen. I very much like this guy. I think he might pop up on a few more of our conversations.
Yeah. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
He's very motivational.
Tune in to this podcast. How can you change the world? And comment what your takeaways were, or what you felt or thought about the questions that he asked, or the negative self-talk that's going on for you, because it's going on for all of us.
Yeah.
Nobody is exempt.
Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, how do we fix that one, man? That's a big, that in between the ears thinking. So, well, I appreciate you being real, showing up and having this hit you in a good, like it's, sharing. This is, it's not easy stuff. I remember I'm sure there's a podcast somewhere in this long list of when I was dealing with my PayPal issue. So, it does happen. So keep, your positive self-talk. Remember your wins. Yes, you will. We'll figure it out. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Great to sit and share, and appreciated this, and hope you guys can share one of your takeaways as well. Great to see you, Leslie.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one.
You too. Take care.